History is full of genius minds and legendary leaders. But every now and then, someone dies in a way so ridiculously stupid that history refuses to forget it. Here are 5 of the most mind-blowingly absurd historical deaths of all time. Number 5. The Viking who was killed by a man he had already decapitated. Back in 892 AD, Sigurd the Mighty, a famous Norse Earl of Orkney, challenged his chief rival, Maelbright the Buck-Toothed, to a 40-man battle to settle their territories once and for all. Both agreed that each side would bring exactly 40 warriors. But Sigurd was deceitful and secretly brought 80 heavily armed men instead. Unsurprisingly, Sigurd won the battle easily, slaughtered his outnumbered opponent, and personally chopped off Maelbright's head as a glorious trophy. To show off his absolute dominance to everyone on his journey back home, Sigurd tied the severed head to his horse's saddle and rode off in triumph. But there was one critical detail Sigurd ignored. Maelbright was famous for having extremely prominent, protruding buck teeth. As Sigurd's horse galloped at full speed across the rough terrain, the severed head bounced violently up and down. Out of nowhere, one of Maelbright's buck teeth deeply scratched Sigurd's bare leg. At first, it seemed like nothing more than a minor surface scrape. But in the 9th century, medical hygiene and antiseptics did not exist. Within hours, bacteria took over. The wound got severely infected, violent gangrene set in, and within days, Sigurd the Mighty died in agony from the infection caused by his dead enemy's tooth. Maelbright literally got the ultimate revenge from beyond the grave. Number 4. The tailor who tested a homemade parachute by jumping straight off the Eiffel Tower. In the early 1900s, an Austrian-born tailor living in Paris named Franz Reichelt became completely obsessed with creating a wearable parachute suit for aviators. Aviation was exploding, but pilots were dying constantly because they had no way to escape falling aircraft. Franz set out to fix this problem. He began designing a massive suit made of heavy fabric, rubber, and folding rods. He tested his early prototypes using dummies dropped from his 5th-floor apartment window, but almost every single test was a complete disaster. The dummies crashed straight down into the pavement. Despite the obvious failure, Franz refused to believe his design was flawed. Instead, he convinced himself that the parachute simply needed a much higher drop point to give the fabric time to properly inflate and catch the air. So, in February 1912, after months of begging, he finally convinced the Paris Police Department to grant him permission to test his invention from the first platform of the famous Eiffel Tower, over 180 feet above the ground. The police granted permission assuming he was going to drop another dummy. When Franz arrived at the tower on a freezing morning, press photographers and onlookers had gathered. To everyone's absolute horror, Franz wasn't holding a dummy. He walked out to the icy wooden edge wearing the bulky 20-pound suit himself. Friends, journalists, and security guards immediately tried to talk him out of it, begging him to use a dummy first. But Franz was arrogantly confident that his suit would save him and make him world famous. He stood on the ledge for nearly 40 hesitant seconds as the camera rolled, adjusted his outfit, and plunged directly into the air. The suit collapsed instantly, wrapping around his body like a tight blanket. Franz fell like a stone, striking the frozen ground at top speed, leaving a 2-inch deep crater in the earth and killing himself instantly, all captured on historic newsreel footage for the entire world to see. Number 3. The ancient Greek politician who was literally loved to death by his own fans. In 600 BC, Draco was a famous politician and lawgiver in Athens. He is the very man who gave us the word draconian, because his legal code was so brutally strict that even minor crimes like stealing a piece of fruit were punishable by execution. Despite his unbelievably harsh penalties, the citizens of ancient Greece respected him immensely because he brought clear laws and order to a chaotic society. His popularity reached absolute legendary status. During a major public appearance at a packed auditorium on the island of Aegina, the audience wanted to show Draco the highest level of honor possible in ancient Greek culture. In those times, custom dictated that people express their massive admiration and praise for a respected figure by throwing their hats, cloaks, jackets, and shirts onto the honored guest. When Draco stepped out onto the stage, the crowd erupted into wild cheering. Hundreds of enthusiastic fans began throwing their heavy wool garments at him all at once to prove how much they loved him. At first, Draco smiled and accepted the praise. But the crowd was so overly excited that a continuous mountain of heavy wool cloaks rained down on him within seconds. Draco was completely buried underneath the massive pile of clothing. Because the venue was so loud with shouting and applause, nobody realized that Draco was trapped under the suffocating weight. By the time the crowd finally finished celebrating and rushed to pull him out from under the mountain of clothes, Draco had already choked to death. The people literally smothered their favorite leader with applause and heavy jackets. Number 2. The mayor who tripped over his own world record beard while trying to escape a dangerous fire. Meet Hans Steininger, the mayor of Braunau am Inn in Austria during the 1500s. Hans was an exceptionally popular local leader, but he was internationally famous for one very specific reason: his magnificent world record beard. His beard measured a staggering 4.5 feet long, reaching all the way down to his feet. Because it was so absurdly long that it dragged across the dirty ground, Hans had a daily routine where he would carefully roll the beard up, fold it neatly, and keep it tucked securely inside a special leather pouch attached to his belt. It was his prized possession and his defining legacy. However, in 1567, a sudden, terrifying fire broke out in the middle of his town. Panic erupted everywhere as smoke filled the streets and flames began spreading across wooden buildings. Hans immediately rushed out to manage the crisis and evacuate his citizens. But in the chaotic scramble and wild rushing through the crowded town hall, his beard slipped out of its leather pouch and unrolled completely. While sprinting down a steep flight of wooden stairs to escape the burning building, Hans accidentally stepped directly onto the tip of his own 4-foot beard. The force pulled his head straight down, sending him tumbling violently headfirst down the staircase. He landed awkwardly at the very bottom and instantly snapped his neck upon impact. The exact same beard that had made him a worldwide celebrity turned out to be the ultimate cause of his sudden, ridiculous death. Number 1. The brilliant lawyer who accidentally shot himself in front of a jury just to prove his client was innocent. In 1871, a famous Ohio lawyer named Clement Vallandigham was tasked with defending a man accused of murder following a deadly barroom brawl. The prosecution claimed that Vallandigham's client had deliberately pulled out a gun and shot the victim during an argument. However, Vallandigham had a completely different theory. He strongly argued that the victim had actually shot himself by sheer accident while frantically trying to pull his own pistol out of his pants pocket while standing up. To make his defense point crystal clear to everyone, Vallandigham decided to conduct a realistic live demonstration inside his hotel room during a break in the trial. He placed a pistol inside his pocket, intending to show the defense team exactly how easily the weapon's trigger could snag on the fabric of clothing and discharge on its own. There was just one fatal, unbelievable mistake. Vallandigham picked up a loaded gun from the table, genuinely believing it was the unloaded test weapon he had set aside earlier. He put the loaded pistol into his pocket, pulled it out quickly to simulate the struggle, and the trigger caught on his trousers. He pulled the trigger, accidentally shooting himself directly in the stomach at point-blank range. As he lay mortally wounded on the floor, bleeding out in front of his shocked colleagues, his tragic demonstration proved to be so undeniably convincing that the jury concluded the victim must have done the exact same thing. His client was acquitted of all murder charges, but Vallandigham died from his severe gunshot wound early the next morning, giving his own life just to win a court case. Which one of these unbelievable historical mishaps surprised you the most? Drop your favorite story in the comments below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more insane historical facts.